Namaste and good afternoon, my dear students. I hope you are all happy and fine and you have done your homework, read through your lessons and done the two exercises that I have forwarded to you. I hope you got all the questions right. The answers are being sent to ICAI and they will be uploading the same. You will get the answers. And please check and see how much marks you get. In case you get anything anywhere less than 25, please, 50%, please make sure that you do your lessons more. And happy learning. Shall we go to the class? Today I am using PowerPoints. Already these PowerPoints are forwarded to the institute. You will get the copy of that. Okay. We need to go slightly faster today because lessons have to be over. Okay, happy learning. Okay, in the last class, you remember we stopped with demand forecasting. That is the methods of demand forecasting. Okay, the methods of demand forecasting. What is demand forecasting? Short period forecasting, long-term forecasting, all that we have done. Now we will quickly go through these methods of demand forecasting. The first method is asking the buyers. Demand forecasting is trying to predict what is the demand for your products in future. So who are your people who are targeting? You are actually targeting the buyers, isn't it? And so the first method is survey. You know what a survey is? That is, you use an instrument like a questionnaire or simply interview the customers and ask them, what are your intentions? That is buyer's intentions. So this is a very direct method. That is, you are asking your prospective customers, what is your intention to buy during a particular period of time, maybe in the next 6 months? What type of consumer durable will you buy? So this is directly interviewing and asking, which means you can either go in for a sampling. Sampling is picking and choosing some people as your respondents. The sampling is something you're going to study in statistics. That is choosing a representative number of people and ask them questions. Okay? And then you consider their answers as applicable to the entire market. Or if your number of buyers is less, as in the case of, heavy equipments, okay, land movers, right, building equipments, etc. It's not necessary because your number of buyers is less. For example, you are a manufacturer of tire and you want to supply it to your car manufacturers, then the number of people who are buying your product is less. Then you can also go for a complete enumeration method. That is, you ask each and every person, what is the possibility of your buying? How much do you want to buy? The third method is end-use method. This is when you are manufacturing inputs. You know what is input? Input is a intermediate good which is used for further production. So ask the end users, okay, how much you will be buying this input. Okay, and then take an estimate of this. So it is actually the customers who are responding, and you take the responses and then put it in your computer and calculate. Okay, but this method is not very good for toiletries, washing soap and things like that. This is useful when, the number of buyers is less. And mostly it is bulk sale. Commodities are sold in large quantities. Then you can easily approach these people and ask them how much are you purchasing. Okay. So this method is not very helpful for household purchases of things like toiletries and things like that. So that is the first method. That is, buyers are asked what they will buy during a particular period of time, maybe 3 months, 6 months, like that. The buyers themselves may not be aware as to what is it that they are going to buy. For example, if you are asked, will you buy a mobile phone? Yes, you will say you will buy. but maybe you want to buy, but you may not buy. Okay. And so this is not a very good method. Then the second method is asking the sales people. That's why it's known as collective opinion method or sales force opinion method. Sales force is the people who are marketing or selling. Okay. Grassroots. What is the peculiarity with the grassroots? It is very much on the ground. So like that, sales force is also very much in touch with the customers. So they know how much the product will move. They know from their sales experience. They know from the skill. They will be able to forecast the future demand. And so this is sales force are asked, what do you think will be the future demand for this in your territory? Because each salesman will be given a particular territory and he knows that territory very well. He will be able to forecast. Right. So they are expected to know, the salespeople. But here also there are problems because salespeople, maybe they are experienced in sales, but, they simply feel certain things. They're not scientific in their opinion, okay? They feel something and they respond according to what they feel. And so, they may not be correctly forecasting. Then there is another problem. Some salespeople will be, very optimistic. Some salespeople will be very pessimistic. Some salespeople will be afraid. If I give a large number, I will be given such targets, okay? And so there is every possibility that these sales people will not tell you the right thing, or they may not have the skills to say the right demand. Then sales people, are they going to know what is going to happen in the next 3 months? For example, did anyone guess, we will have a virus attack like this? Okay. Or does a salesman know about, the economic policies of the government? Not at all. And so, the salespeople are not really, for example, next 1 month and so, salespeople can predict. So, we finished 2 methods. First method is survey of buyers. Second method is the grassroots approach where you ask the salespeople. And what you do is, all the salespeople will submit the data and you put it in your computer and project it. Okay. And you give some concession for optimism, pessimism like that. And then you project the future demand. Now the third method is, we are going to more and more complex method. The third method is known as expert opinion method. That is, as the very name stands, it is asking the experts. Okay. There are experts in the field of marketing, experts in for example, in managerial, that is every big business firm will depend on professional consultants. Who are the professional consultants? These professional consultants are either statisticians or they have good knowledge of market conditions. They are business administrators or MBAs, right? These people will be watching the market, okay? And these people are asked to respond on appropriately structured, unbiased tools of data collection. It is written in your book. That is, you write the questions, whatever you want to extract from them, you ask them like an interview schedule or a questionnaire. Questionnaire is you're writing down all the questions where you want information and give it to them and they will give you back. What do you think is the probable demand? How do you think the demand for dishwashers? Because I hope you have read in the newspaper during COVID-19 lockdown, there was such a lot of demand for dishwashers. There are actually, these are one huge chapter we are condensing in one paragraph. Okay. Just to tell you that this is a method. Then the next method is Delphi technique. Delphi. Delphi comes from, the word Delphi comes from the oracle of Delphi. That is the Greek mythology where, the forecast about, horoscope was given. The future was foretold. And that's why this is known as a Delphi method. So this Delphi method is used for, you can scribble down in your textbook, you can open your textbook and keep the page number in your textbook should be around 2.52, 51 or 52, okay. So what you do is, in Delphi method is a very sophisticated method, very much used in advanced countries. What they do is, they want to predict or they want to know the opinion about a very important issue. At the same time, we are very vague about it. For example, how much of energy requirement will be there 50 years from now? For example, in that year 2070, what will be the type of energy requirement? Will we go for example, shale gas, or will we go for solar energy alone? Because so many things have to be considered to answer questions like this. And so these experts are given, for example, a questionnaire on which they are supposed to respond. Please be with me. That is the first set. The first set is, I think I have, okay, this is the Delphi method. That is, the first round, you give the people, experts will be in different places. There is another method where these experts are called to you one place and they are asked to sit down and discuss. But then there are big problems, okay, because experts will be in different countries, okay. So these people are mailed all your questions and they get you get the return from them. And then they submit. What you do is, if you are the coordinator, you give the responses of all the other people. Then that person A will modify or accept, or he may not change his opinion. So like that, or different round, or first round, second round, third round, fourth round, okay, what will be the energy requirement? Don't you think, okay, you are asking the person A, don't you think this what B said is correct? So then A would not have thought like that. So A will now modify his opinion. Or A will not modify his opinion. He will tell you the reason why he is not modifying his opinion. So like that, in different rounds, of discussions with the highly learned experts in this area, we come to a conclusion. What will be the energy need in the year 2070? So that if I am into energy industry, for example, if I am into production of coal, or if I am into production of petroleum, or into petroleum refining, I can actually know what facility I need. Should I change my facility? Should I invest crores and billions now? Because 50 years from now, no cars will be running on diesel or petrol. So this is known as Delphi method. I hope it is clear. The next method is statistical method. These methods, the fundamentals of it, definitely you're going to learn in your mathematics class. What you first do is, you already know this method, trend projection method. That is, there is a trend, either an increasing trend or a decreasing trend. So if it is an increasing trend, you expect that trend to continue and project your demand based on the trend that you can see. For example, you take a graph paper and mark a time series. Time series is based on time, maybe months, years, like that. And then you have some dots, project it. Okay. Graphical method is also the same. Put x, y, put the graph and write all the figures and see, project it to a future date. Just extend the line of best fit. Okay. That is fitting a trend equation is your regression. I hope after correlation you study a lesson on regression. That is, if this is the relationship that is existing between two variables, say for example, production of electricity and the price of electricity. If this is the relationship, or the consumption of electricity, you find year after year the consumption of electricity is increasing. And so the trend is expected to continue, and you fit in a equation like A plus BX, or like a straight line equation also, and you calculate what would be the demand in future. And regression analysis is this: using the relationship, you calculate what will be the value in the future. Okay. And so these are known as statistical methods. Then you will be surprised to know there are controlled experiments. For example, a city may be chosen. You are launching a new product or an existing product. For example, designer garments, ready-made garments, or equipments, household equipments that you use in your house, like fans, like washing machines. Conduct a market study. For example, you choose a city like Hyderabad, lots of different types of people are there, and then study you control certain conditions, you change the price and see what will be the effect, okay, like that, conducting market studies. So different cities are chosen by producers and they do a market study by altering or changing certain variables, like sometimes it may be a price, sometimes you change the advertisement and see what is the effect, okay, and if you find advertisement is effective, okay, you can project the demand on the basis of the study. Then it is all the more complex, that is controlled laboratory experiment, which is known as a consumer market. They keep changing the prices, the music, the advertisement and things like that, and see what is the probable effect on demand. Then the last method is known as barometric method of forecasting. Barometer, measure atmospheric pressure. So it's not possible to include, trade cycles. Trade cycles are, up and down in economic activity. Market. Okay, they take the data index of certain indicators. Okay, an index is a composite number. That is, large number of numbers are put in one complex, one compact number. For example, wholesale price index, like that. That index is taken and you look at the movement of this index. For example, there are three types of indicators, that is leading indicators, coincident indicators, lagging indicators. Some indicators are there, you get an idea, seeing these indicators, something is going to happen in future. In your book, it is given, large number of applications for construction. We know construction activity is going to take place. So we need a lot of cement, bricks and so on. I can tell you a simple example. If you want to study for chartered accountancy, in plus 2 itself, the leading indicator is you spend a lot of time in studying accounts, maths and all the other subjects so that you become. That is a leading indicator. And what is a coincidental indicator? A coincidental indicator is you spend a number of hours when you are studying for foundation. And what is a lagging indicator? Follow the change. That is the mark that you get for your foundation is a lagging indicator. Okay. You can decide, what your future based on the result. Okay. Coincidental indicators are, the number of hours that you spend. That goes along. Leading is that goes before, coincidental is that is taking place at the same time, lagging is what is happening after some time. That takes us to the chapter 1. We need to go slightly fast. I hope this much is clear with that. Our chapter on consumer behavior, demand analysis is, and we go to a very simple chapter, that is the nature and scope of business economics. Okay. What is business economics? Now that the science students have some idea as to what is economics, I think you will be able to understand this lesson better because you already tasted what economics is. That is why we keep the chapter 1 after finishing the chapter 2. Okay, right. I mean, not chapter 2, unit 2 and 3, right. The nature and scope of business economics. I hope you know that you are studying business economics. What is business economics? Before that, we have to know what is economics about. Those who have not done economics, you have tasted a little bit of economics. It is about human beings. How they choose and how they reach equilibrium with their limited resources. We already finished demand theory. What did we study in demand theory? People have only limited resources and they have unlimited wants, and with the limited resources they try to maximize their utility. Okay, we studied everything about demand and why people demand, what are the factors that determine how people respond. We studied in elasticity. Then we came to consumer behavior. We studied two theories. In all these theories, what we were trying to find out is how human beings are maximizing their utility or maximizing their satisfaction with the limited resources they have. Now let's go and put it in theory. We know human beings have unlimited wants. Nobody can dispute that. We have unlimited want. Nothing wrong in having unlimited want. I have unlimited wants. You have unlimited wants. Every society, every group of people, they have unlimited wants. But the means, if wants are this much, means to satisfy is only this much. Right? Normal. No economy. Even though American economy always used to boast, for example, in early 1960s, there was a book also called, Our Problem is, Affluent Society is the name of the book. In that, Galbraith is saying, our problem is not scarcity. Our problem is affluence. Affluence is having too much. Now that COVID has come, we know that it is not affluence their problem. Scarcity is a problem for any nation, right? So, means to satisfy are scarce. We use in economics a term relative scarcity. Relative, please note the word. We don't say absolute scarcity. Absolute scarcity is having no resource. But we have some resource, and that resource is not sufficient when you relate it to the unlimited wants. Okay. So that is the meaning of the word relative scarcity. Scarcity in relation to the multitude of wants that we have. That is the meaning of relative scarcity. Then another problem is, so think of the money in your pocket. You have hundreds of wants, but your father is giving only this much money, 500 rupees. And this 500 rupees in your pocket is capable of alternative uses, right? You can eat pizza with that. You can go for a movie. You can buy a textbook, okay? You can go for tuition using this money. So they have alternative uses for this limited resource. And so what will you do? You have to exercise a choice. What is the choice? The most urgent wants first. Because with the limited resources, I want to maximize my satisfaction. And economics is about, this is the subject matter. What do we study in economics? Yes. All these processes by which the relatively scarce resources are allocated. That is, you are setting apart 100 rupees for food, 100 rupees for travel, 200 rupees for clothes, 100 rupees for textbook, like that, allocating the scarce resources to satisfy your competing wants, unlimited wants. You remember, we studied the characteristics of want. Wants compete each other. Wants are unlimited. So somehow or the other, you are trying to partition, divide this resource into different uses. You do that. Your family does that. Relatively scarce resources are that you attain maximum satisfaction by choosing those wants which are urgent first, satisfying them and trying to get the maximum satisfaction. And you will ask me, what is resource allocation into different uses? This is what economies, right? It is actually increased. Then can you say the resources are scarce? Because resources are increasing. Your education, quantity of resources are increasing. and the quality of resources are also increasing. Don't you think that you are much equipped when compared to your parents? Don't you think you have much more quality to use computers, right? Much more knowledge, much more scientific discoveries, okay? Human beings can do more work now, okay? There are computers and machines. Look at this. From one point, you are able to share the information class all over the world. This is technology, isn't it? And so both quantitatively and qualitatively, the quality has also increased, isn't it? Instead of sitting and writing notes, okay, you can refer internet and collect information, right? And so productive capacity, both quantity and quality, has increased. Then there is another issue. There are thousands of issues, but the only 3 issues are given in your book. There are fluctuations in productive activity. I'll explain this. What is the meaning of fluctuation? Fluctuation means this wave-like movement. It is very easy to understand now. After the COVID-19 has set in, what is the nature of economic activity in your place? It is, the shops are not functioning well, production is not doing well, okay? Sales are not doing well, trade is bad, okay? Then transportation is not okay. Then demand for goods is not okay. Many shops in the cities are closed, right? And so, very low level of economic activity. This is what you're going to study in chapter 5, business cycles. Sometimes it is very low business activity. Even if COVID did not come, in the year 2008, around that time, the United States was experiencing large scale, recession. Recession is a period of very low economic activity. But sometimes it is very high level of economic activity. That is, all people will be very alert. There will be high prices, high sales, okay? Lots of production. At some other time, less production, low prices, we call it recession. So there are periods of very high level of... Why is that? Chartered accountancy students are taught business economics. Definitely you are going to be part of a business, either as a consultant or working for a business as a CFO or somebody like that at different levels. You may be, competing with the big 4, big 5 like that. Consumer behavior study, we said people know everything, but you will find this economics, for example, when you study demand, you can apply the demand theory, only basics you have done, but still, you can apply this demand theory in a firm situation of my business firm, right? And so we use economic analysis to make business decisions. In all important businesses, especially outside our India, there is a managerial economist appointed in the roles, right? He is the one who is planning strategies after analyzing data, right? He is acting as a consultant. So there will be an economist in any business, in huge businesses, okay? He will apply econometric analysis, put all the data, apply mathematics, statistics, economics, all 3 together, and manipulate it and come to conclusions, advise, okay, when business decisions are okay. And what is the organization's problem? The very same problem that we have. What is the problem? Limited resources. Organizations do not have unlimited resources. Most of the organizations are borrowing money, and there is a cost of capital. They have to repay the money. They have to generate surpluses. Only then they can repay the money, isn't it? They are answerable to the shareholders. The share prices should not fall. So there are thousands of calculations that a business firm has to make. And as a basic business economics person, it is in the background of your brain. You may not directly apply this just as you apply accountancy in a firm. Right. Your knowledge of accountancy may have to be directly applied on in your computer on the book. But the knowledge of business economics acts as a background, for understanding the environment in which you are working. I hope it is clear for you. Now we go to a distinction between microeconomics and macroeconomics. This distinction is given in your book. You can keep your book open. That is, so far we have been discussing, nature of business economics, page number 1.6. Page number 1.6, right? Nature of business economics. At least some of you have done economics, and in the first year you did microeconomics, and then second year you did macroeconomics, and you can understand the difference. For the science students, I'll say micro is a term which you are used to, isn't it? And micro is, when you study economics, there are two ways of studying. You can study an entire economy, for example, all over. Take India altogether. Take United States together and study. That is macroeconomics. That is the larger aggregates. In microeconomics, what you do is, you study about a small number. You study about only one industry, say cement industry. You study about only another industry, say for example, garment industry. A small number of industry. You study about, chemical industry in your area. You study about laborers of particular type of laborers. You study about income of women. Then you are studying microeconomics, because you're not studying the entire economy together. So when you study microeconomics, your focus is on a small number or small group, right? But when you study macroeconomics, you study overall economic phenomena. You can go and read your book, for example. In microeconomics, you are studying demand. Everything that is given in your microeconomics textbook, your business economics textbook. You are studying demand. Yes. You are studying resource allocation, the production possibility curve. You are studying microeconomics. You are studying microeconomics when you study supply. You are studying microeconomics when you study about monopoly, about markets, about behavior of firms. Profit maximization, utility maximization. These are all about small group. But in macroeconomics, you study national income. What is the aggregate income of the country? National income, national savings, price level, inflation, deflation, balance of payment. Exports, total imports, total saving, total investment. Did you get it? You are studying the economy as a whole. Exchange rate, the demand for dollars, supply of dollars, decide the exchange rate between currencies, isn't it? That is macroeconomics. Very easy. Usually application questions come. Very easy to distinguish. Whatever you study in microeconomics, micro, and whatever you study in macroeconomics is macroeconomics. So it is aggregate economic, large economic aggregate. Aggregate means total. If you are studying the total economy, it is macroeconomics. Now we go to the features of business economics. Features means characteristics. If you look at business economics, how is it? Come on. First feature is, it is a science. Science students should be happy. What is a science? A systematized body of knowledge which studies cause and effect. Yes, business economics is a science. Economics itself is a science because it studies cause and effect, right? It is an art. What is an art? Many of you will be knowing how to paint, how to do embroidery. It is an art. What is art? How to dance, how to sing classical song. Hindustani music. Okay, you will be knowing. And what is art? You know, there are certain principles you apply in art, in scientific printing. Mix this color, you will get this color. In dance, we say, you know, where your hand goes, your eyes go. Right? That is an art. That is applying some principles. So, business economics is applied economics. We are applying principles for business decision making. That's why it is a science, because it is approaching, economics approaches things scientifically. Unbiased. Your emotions do not play a part in that. Okay. It is a science. It is an art. Interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary means no subject can be detached from another subject in social sciences. When you do research in economics, sociology will come in, right? When you do MBA, so many multiple subjects are studied, isn't it? Interdisciplinary is not on one subject alone. It depends on different subjects, because economics is heavily loaded in sociology. Economics is heavily connected with statistics. All data coming. Economics is heavily connected with mathematics. We have a subject known as econometrics. Okay, that is why we apply in this business economics. We do a lot of inventory management. Okay, we do a lot of what you do in your business studies. Lot of things come. So it is business studies part of business economics, right? And so it is interdiscipline. One discipline means economics is a discipline, sociology is a discipline, accountancy is a discipline. Everything comes together, interdisciplinary. Actually, this is microeconomics, because we are looking at firms. We are looking at the behavior of firms. So it is microeconomics. But we cannot forget macroeconomics. That is why we have a chapter on. Chapter 5 is trade cycle, business cycle. That is, the businesses work in an environment, in a business environment. And as an economist, you have to know the environment in which you are functioning. Okay. So that is why macro analysis is there. We use the theory of market. You know what is a market? Okay, where people meet demand and supply. Private enterprise. Okay, business economics is mostly concentrated on private enterprise. It has a pragmatic approach, practical approach. Pragmatic means down to earth, practical approach. It is normative in nature. I'll explain the term normative. Normative and positive is another type of question that can be asked. Positive is looking at something in a dispassionate manner. I told you in the last class. A positive is utility is ethically neutral. You remember. We won't say whether it is good or bad. It is purely scientific. Buying this gives me utility, so I buy. Right? There is no value judgment. Okay? Whether good or bad, it is purely scientific. And economics is positive in many cases. Right? Pure economics is abstract and positive. That means it is purely scientific. It studies cause and effect. Okay? If this is the cause, this is the effect. That is positive. Smoking will make, cigarettes will cause cancer, lung cancer. That is a positive statement. So in economics, study a lot of things, and economists will say, okay, this is the result. That is positive. Describes what is, not what ought to be done. Okay, your father says, if you don't study this will happen, and so please study. He is prescribing, isn't it? Prescribing. So whenever there is a prescription as what should be done, we call it normative. Normative comes from the word norm, N-O-R-M. There are certain norms of behavior in the society. For example, respect for elders, isn't it? So your action should be towards respecting elders. There are certain other norms in your families, isn't it? That is, in Indian background, there are lots of norms of behavior. Religious norms are there, social norms are there, okay? And we try to behave according to the norms. Like that, in normative economics, it prescribes what should be done. In our previous example, I said cigarette smoking may cause lung cancer. That is a positive statement. But in a normative statement, the statement will become, do not smoke cigarettes because it will cause lung cancer. See, there is a prescription. What should be done? What should not be done? So business economics is applied economics. It is meant for firms which are trying to survive, which are trying to maximize their profit. So what should be done? What should not be done? Okay, this is what. If your substitute is close, do not increase, and cross elasticity of demand is very high, do not increase the price. Didn't you study that? Okay. So business economics is application oriented, mostly normative, prescriptive, and showing the path, how to, what is to be done. Okay, that is business economics is normative. Then you can open your book and see in page number 1.7. What is the nature of business economics? At this stage, you may not understand. That's why I did not put it in PowerPoints. First one is, business economics incorporates elements of normative in nature. It is prescriptive. Nature, of course, I included. And what is the scope? Scope is extend. What does it cover? Okay. Somebody asked me what is the meaning of the scope. What does it cover? You can just go through it. It's very simple. One is demand analysis and forecasting. Did you study that? Yes. That chapter is over for us. But there are some things that you don't study in your foundation, which you will study only go to higher classes. It includes production and cost analysis. That is the next chapter you're going to study. Inventory management. You don't have inventory management in economics, but you have inventory management in costing. Okay, you will study in intermediate. Then market structure and pricing. You remember monopoly, perfect competition. Yes, that comes in business economics. Resource allocation. You remember resource allocation, production possibility curve. Yes, that is also part of my business economics. Then investment decision. That is all those, how to make decisions on investment. You remember your payback period method, okay? Return on investment, all that is studied detail even in economics. Analysis, risk analysis, environment analysis, business environment analysis. Okay, in your intermediate you study about strategic management, environment analysis, right? Then you study about the economic system in macroeconomics. You study about business cycle. You study about national income determination, because now you have to know how is national income. If national income is good, your business is good. You study about social environment. You study about political environment. You do an analysis of the environment. If you live in a corrupt country, businesses find it very difficult to, because businesses have to be corrupt. Isn't it? So the ethical standards of a country is very important, right? Then the patent, all those things. So hundreds of things are included in the scope of business economics. I hope it is clear. That takes us to Unit 2. You can still keep your book open. This is simple 1.11. That is Unit 2 tells you about. I hope it is clear what I said so far. We have been studying about what is business economics, okay? Whether it is, we studied done. Here we need a lot of explanation. So let's start. What is your basic problem? Your basic problem is now passing Some students ask me, will the examination be postponed? No idea. So there is a lot of uncertainty. There is limited time. Okay. There is limited resource. Right. Everything has to be studied. And so this is a problem. On relative scarcity of resources. Resources are insufficient and your wants are unlimited. That is my problem. That is individual problem. Your problem is also the same. Your municipality or panchayat or whatever it is, their problem is also the same. That is the problem of the hospital nearby. That is the problem of Ambani. That is the problem of Amitabh Bachchan, isn't it? That is the problem of Kareena Kapoor. That is the problem for everybody. And that is the problem for India. That is the problem for your state. And so, everybody faces this problem. That is the basic problem of relative scarcity, unlimited wants and limited resources. Since it is unlimited wants and limited resources, you cannot satisfy all the people. That is why sometimes, parents find it difficult. They cannot satisfy the needs of all the children. They can satisfy only few needs of the children. So like that, the central economic problem of an economy. Now we are leaving the individual area and going to the economy. The basic problem of an economy is what to produce. What to produce, because we cannot produce everything. Everybody wants forecasts. Is it possible to produce? Not possible. What to produce and what not to produce. What to produce and in how much quantity we should produce. Okay? What to produce, what not to produce. If you decide on what to produce, how much of each good should be produced. Remember, you are the finance minister. You have to make this decision. Then what will you decide? Come on. You will have a priority list. Now you will produce medicines because we have emergency, right? So like that, now we will not produce many things because this is what to be produced now. Next question is how to produce. How is a question of which method of production you will use. A method of production is, which factor will be used more, which factor. Science students, please note this, how to produce is, technique of production. Will you choose labor intensive method? What is labor intensive? Using more labor. For example, handloom, they use more labor. Every work, many work can be done with laborers. Clear? And are you going for capital intensive method? Capital intensive means using less labor, more capital. Labor intensive is using more labor, less capital. Usually those countries where there is capital shortage, usually developing countries, poor countries, they will have lots of people to work for, and so they use labor intensive methods. And rich countries use capital intensive methods, right? That is why robots are used in rich countries. Assembling work in many countries are done by robots, right? They are using capital intensive method. Now, how is this decision made? The relative prices. You take the price of capital, the price of labor, okay? If price of capital is very high, go for labor intensive. If price of labor is very high, wages are very high. In many parts of India, especially in southern part of, in Kerala, wages are very high. So what do people do? They go for capital intensive methods, right? And so the relative prices of labor and capital will decide. Then for whom to produce? Who should get? That is about distribution. A cake, a national cake is produced. How to divide it? Okay, who will get it? And one more point which you have not done in your +2 is what provisions are to be made for economic growth. You cannot consume everything that you produce. Okay, we have to set apart a portion as saving and invest it and increase your productive capacity. So how much should be set apart, saved in order to increase the productivity is how much. So these are the four big questions: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, how much should be set apart for future economic growth, how much should be set apart for saved so that we can invest. And that takes us to an economic system. An economic system. In your house, there is a system, isn't it? Every house is facing the same problem, scarcity of resources. But there is a particular way of solving it in your house. Any problem, not only this problem. If children do not study, some parents, they will bunk. What bunk? TV bunk. Internet bunk. Some other families will have another method. Okay, you study this, I will give you money so that you can attend movie. Okay. So, same problem, different families have different ways of solving, right? It is like that as society also. All societies have the same problem, right? But different societies solve it in different ways, right? And that is an economic system. The system that an economy follows to solve their basic economic problems. That is the method used by a society to produce and distribute goods with the scarce resources. And what is the role of government? Is the government just watching, or is the government actively involved? Or is it the entire government that is making all decisions? Right? And that is economic system. The method by which the society decides using its scarce resources. Which method will you use? Okay. So that takes us to economic system. This is economic system. I have drawn a chart. On extreme side is planned economy. That is totally planned communistic economy. There is nothing like that now. Okay. And so we have different grades of communism, like North Korea, China, Venezuela, slowly they are moving to capitalist. Okay. France and Sweden has something called mixed economy. Then there are many other countries, but I just wrote some examples. Then United States and Japan, they have capitalistic, they depend on market. So it is government and market. I'll be explaining it thoroughly. Government, how much of government is there and how much of market? Marketers leave things to demand and supply. Okay, based on the role of government and the role of market, we have the first economic, these are the big four questions repeated: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. These questions are solved by adopting a particular economic system. There's a very interesting cartoon, difference between labor and capital. Laborers have burden. This is what communists say. Okay, laborers have burden. Capitalists have a big belly. Because they have a lot of money, they can eat a lot. Okay, but these are the working class. Laborers are the working class, and okay. And capitalism and socialism. There are three such economic systems. But please don't be guided to thinking that all the world is divided into capitalism or socialism and mixed economy. The United States will say they are capitalistic. But that does not mean the pure capitalist theory which I am going to teach you now. There are shades of capitalism, different types of capitalism. And don't think that American government is sitting idle watching at the economy. No, they are interfering. Okay. So there is nothing like pure capitalism and pure socialism. They are extreme opposites. Okay. There is nothing like pure capitalism and pure socialism. But when you study theory, just like I said, negative utility. Right? Negative utility, nobody will consume up to negative utility. But when you study theory, you have to study the pure extreme. Okay. So let us see the difference between capitalism and socialism. Before that, before that, I will take doubts if you have raised. No, but doubts have not come yet, right? I haven't got the file, right? Doubts have not come. So I will discuss the features of capitalism and socialism side by side. Capitalism is something which most of us are familiar with. You have heard about American capitalism, the big brother America, isn't it? We have heard about socialism, its failure in the USSR. Right. During our student days, long back, our preamble of our constitution says, we want a socialistic, sovereign socialistic. So our objective was to become socialistic. Okay. Now let us learn the difference between capitalism and socialism. Before that, please understand, capitalism, an economic system. Socialism is another economic system. Mixed economy is another economic system. They are actually overlapping. Pure capitalism that I am going to teach you now, I am also going to teach you about pure socialism. But please be reminded that there is no country in this world which is purely capitalistic. There is no country in the world which is purely socialist. Right? And so, first feature of capitalism is, there are some new words that are coming. Please scribble it in your book when you don't understand. Please write down what you understand. Okay. A free market economy. That is, everything is left to the market. Demand and supply. The market will decide what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Everything is left to the private people. Clear. The government will not make any decision. It is a free market economy. If yellow cars are demanded, yellow cars will be provided by the market. It is a free market economy. Right? It's also known as laissez-faire economy. You've come across this term. Laissez-faire. What is the meaning of the word laissez-faire? Laissez-faire means leave alone, let alone, leave them free, leave the market free, because the market knows what is to be done, right? The market represents people's desires, the market represents producers' response to people's desire. So laissez-faire means let alone, leave them free, right? And some examples of countries are Canada, so there are lots of others. Canada, South Korea, Singapore, Germany, Great Britain, United States, mostly but not the pure capitalism. Okay, what I'll be teaching you is pure capitalism. And what is socialism? It is exactly the opposite of capitalism. Yeah, exactly the opposite of capitalism. That is, it is a command economy. Command is command of the government. Okay? Command. Okay, your doubts have come. My God. This lady is asking, come on, from Tamil Nadu, which chapter are you teaching? I am teaching you the first chapter. Okay? I didn't understand lagging and coincidental indicator. Lagging indicator is what happens after. Okay? Leading is what goes in front. Coincident is what is walking along with you. And lagging is what happens. Okay. For example, if COVID-19 is happening for a long time, what will be the result? Come on. The result is decreased production because lockdown is there. Then decreased production is a lagging indicator. Then how do you differentiate large scale and small scale? On which basis? Usually, if this is industry, government will have very specific instructions, rules. as to what is the small scale, what is a large scale industry, and what is an MSME, medium scale industry. Okay, and if it is about industry. Please teach BCK. No, okay, all that is left to the ICAI. Ma'am, please teach BCK, left to the ICAI, I do not know. Can you please tell me how to study paper for economics? You study from ICAI. Yes. ICAI material is the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or the Quran of your ICAI study or foundation. You need to learn only that. But each and every word you should be clear. Understand relations. Okay. Whenever extra problems and all you can do, study. But entire book has to be studied. Your slides are not in PPT. Yes, I am sending the PowerPoints to the institute. They would have, you can access it. Please check with the institute. Can you explain? My slides are not in PPT. Yes, it is in PPT. Can you explain question paper pattern? Yes. The question paper pattern is multiple choice questions given like the ones given in your textbook. I have uploaded 2 files and that is going to be the pattern, right? Multiple choice questions. Next doubt is what? Yeah, word pragmatic is practical, down to earth. It only means practical, not theoretical. Okay, you apply something practical, pragmatic. Yeah, positive and normative economics. How can you differentiate? There is one method. In positive, there will be no prescription like do this, don't do that. No. It only states what is. It explains. It does not recommend. It does not prescribe. There is nothing like do this, don't do that. Okay? That is positive. In normative, there will be a prescription. If you want to solve unemployment, start a new industry. Right. That is prescription is there. Advice is there. What ought to be done is there. Then that's out of what ought to be done is there. Then definitely it is normative. In positive, no advice. It only tells you scientifically this is it. Okay. Right. Reduce the rate of interest so that lending can be increased. It is a normative statement. Clear? Reduce because there is a prescription. Interest rate reduction will result in picking up of more loans. That is a positive statement. Okay. Next is your PPT is different. Your slides are not available. It is all uploaded. I have sent each and every slide of mine to the institute. Please contact them. What is the weightage of this chapter? Don't look at weightage. You have to study each and every word. Don't look at weightage at all. You cannot leave even a single word in economics. Okay. They don't follow any such weightage system like +2. Right. How to get the PPTs? All PPTs are sent to the ICAI. Please contact them. All my PPTs, even those classes where I did not use PowerPoints, those PowerPoints are also forwarded. Okay, so please make use of it. Ma'am, macroeconomics, one more. Macroeconomics is in use in study. Okay, I'll tell you. Macroeconomics you study for your intermediate. Only one chapter in macroeconomics is included in business economics. That is business cycles. That is the 5th chapter. Why is that you know about business cycle? Because business cycles will affect your business so badly, isn't it? Or good. If there is a boom, your business will be good. If there is a recession, your business will be bad. Now we are experiencing, signs of recession. So macroeconomics is the background in which you make decisions in your business. Now nobody will invest because we are expecting a recession. Even if the central bank of our country, Reserve Bank of India, reduced interest rate,
No, the banks, no, takers are not there. Borrowers are not there because we are not willing to invest now. So, that macro knowledge is very necessary for you as a business analyst. Okay. And the last question is normative nature of business economics. Yes. What is to be done by a business firm, right? That is, that prescription should be there. What should be done and what should not be done. Now a business economist will say, don't invest because we are going to experience recession. Don't open a new shop now. You will not sell. Don't start a ready-made garment shop now. People have less money after COVID. You may not be successful. So this advice, do this and don't do that. Right. Don't employ more people now because you will not get your sales. Okay. Proper sales. So such type of advice is required in the case of business economics. That is why advice is necessary. That is why we say business economics is normative. Let's come back to capitalism, socialism. So it's a command economy. Somebody else commands. Who is that commanding? State. The centrally planned economy, the centralized planning authority is there. They will dictate. In free market economy, there is no government to dictate. There is no central planning authority to dictate what is to be done. That is decided by the market. Here the centralized planning authority. Now we have North Korea, Cuba, China, etc. If you have read through the newspaper, in WTO, China always wanted to be treated as a market economy. But last week, you said, okay, you are not a market economy. A market economy is a capitalist economy. You are a social laissez-faire economy. Everything is freely left to the market. You are a command economy where the centralized planning authority decides. And what is the basis of a capitalist economy? Adam Smith, in his Wealth of Nations, you know, Adam Smith was a staunch advocate of capitalism. People must have freedom to buy. People must have freedom to sell. People should be left free because the theory goes like this. I know what is best for me. You know what is best for you. I will do what is best for me. You will do what is best for everybody will do what is best for them. So social welfare will be maximum. That is the theory of capitalism. I will definitely manage my self-interest. You will also manage your self-interest. Everybody manages their self-interest. Good. Social welfare is maximum. I hope you understand it is not correct. Because if I some adulteration in food, I will make profit, but it is not good for you. Right? So what Adam Smith said is not purely correct. And in capitalism, there is a right to private property. I can own property, I can buy property. Property means house, buildings, farm, factories, mines, everything. Okay. All productive and things. Everything. Private property is there. I can buy, I can sell, I can use, I can give it to my children. Okay. I can not use it if I don't want. There is right to private property. I have a document in my favor, okay, and I am the owner. I can do whatever I want to do with my property. And I have a freedom to use it as I like. But in socialism, there is no private property. Doesn't mean you don't have your clothes, okay, it is yours. Your house is yours. But material means of production, please do not misunderstand. Means of production. Farms, factories, okay? Farms, factories, mines, all service sectors, banks, all means of production of goods and services owned by the state. Your house, your food, your mobile phone, everything you can own. but means of production is totally owned by the government. It is collective ownership. You are also owner, but the state is the owner. You cannot have private property. Absence of private property, then absence of government interference in capitalism. The government is just leaving everything to the market. If you want blue chairs to be produced, if consumers want blue chairs to be produced, market will get the pulse and market will produce blue chairs. So it is not a centrally planned economy or regulated economy. Planning is this. You ask people, what do you want? We want 150 astronauts. Train 150 astronauts. We want 4 lakh doctors. Train 4 lakh doctors. That is central planning. We want 50 million tons of sugar. Produce 50 million tons of sugar. That is a planned or controlled economy. Socialism is a fully planned, centrally planned economy where major decisions are taken by the centralized planning authority. Okay. Now there is no planning in capitalism. It is not a centrally planned economy. Socialism is a totally planned. So if you want this much output, if there are this number of people who will eat 1 kilogram of rice in a week, okay, multiply and find out how much rice do we need. Produce that. Okay. Then there is freedom of enterprise. I can start any business I like under capitalism. I can engage in any type of economic activity. If I want to sell coffee, yes, I can sell coffee. If I want to sell cigarettes, I can. Right? What is to be produced is decided by the state. And right to work is guaranteed. There is no such guarantee under capitalism. You have to find your work. Okay. Right to work is guaranteed under socialism. Then economic activity that is the point. Next one is resource allocation. How are the resources allocated? Resource allocation is done by consumer choice. What is consumer choice? A consumer decides that we want air conditioners. Then the pulse is felt by the producers. The producers will produce air conditioners. So resources will move into the production of air conditioners. Clear? So consumers decide how the economy's resources should move into what? Okay. Consumers decide that they are going to eat chocolate cake and not some other cake, tea cake. Resources will move into the production of chocolate cake and less into the production of tea cake. If consumers decide that they are going to use only luxurious commodities like cars, okay, resources will move into the production of luxurious commodities. But in the case of socialism, the centralized planning authority decides what is wanted by people and resource allocation is totally decided by the central. Now, full freedom to choose career, workplace, movement, everything is free for you under capitalism. But there is no guaranteed right to work. Government does not guarantee any right to work. You have to find your work in a private enterprise. But under socialism, right to work is guaranteed, but you cannot say, I will do the work only of or such and such work. The government will decide so many chartered accountants are required. Okay, so all these students will go for chartered accountancy you require. Okay, this is an extreme form I am saying, but you don't have any right to choose your occupation. Okay, then in capitalism, what is the driving force? Profit motive. I have to make maximum profit. My self-interest. Okay. Making more profit is the objective under capitalism. But in socialism, welfare is objective. That is, people have to be happy. Right. Welfare of the people. In consumers, there is consumer sovereignty. Consumer is the king under capitalism. The consumers decide what is to be produced. If the consumers want blue shirts and green trousers, that will be produced. If consumers want blue shirts and you produce black shirt as a producer, you are not going to sell. So you will produce those goods that are demanded by the consumers. And that is consumer sovereignty. Consumer is the sovereign who decides how resources are to be allocated, what is to be produced. As a producer, you have to produce what the consumer wants. Otherwise, you will not sell. If the consumers want black cars, but you produce green cars, you will not sell. So you are forced to produce black cars because you have to satisfy the consumer. Only then you can manage your self-interest of maximizing your profit. In socialism, consumer is nobody. There is no consumer sovereignty. The planning authority will decide what car is to be produced. 3 colors car, 5 colors car, you can choose from among them. Okay. Capitalism supports competition. When there is competition, this brings out, the best in buyers and sellers, isn't it? If there is competition, I will like to produce the best possible product, only then I can sell. But in socialism, there is no competition. The state decides. Right? All economic activities guided by self-interest, no profit motive under socialism. Then, demand and supply will decide the price. Government does not decide the price. Okay, demand and supply, the market will decide. You remember in our chapter we have studied that. Demand and supply will decide the price. And resources will move into the production of those goods whose prices are higher. If prices are lower, that means there is no demand for it. Okay, capitalist economy will not produce that. But socialism, there is no minimum role of price mechanism. We are not leaving things to the demand and supply. Price mechanism is used only for disposing of excess stocks. Some refrigerators were extra. You want to sell it? Then you will put a price on that. But in socialism, what we call as administered prices. Please note that word, administered. Some outsider administers the price. Like our petrol price, like our diesel price, like our price of our ration sugar, price of our ration kerosene, price of our cooking gas, it is state decided. Like that in socialism, the price of everything is decided by the state. Okay, according to welfare. So naturally food will be cheaper. Luxurious commodities will be costly. And who decides what to produce? Now let's come back to our basic economic problem. Who decides what to produce? It is decided by you as a consumer. You express your preferences. Okay, how do you express your preferences? Just like you put your vote, in our voting machine, you decide who you are voting for, isn't it? Like that. You go to the shop and decide this Colgate toothpaste is there. All those toothpastes are there. Consumers decide to buy this type of toothpaste. That will be produced. This type of mobile phone, that will be produced. This type of trousers, that will be produced. But what to produce is decided by the centralized planning authority. How to produce? Come on, you are a capitalist. What do you want? You want to minimize cost. You remember writing on the board. You want to minimize cost and maximize your profit. Price is decided by the market. You have no control on the price. And so you will go for that that type of method that gives you the minimum cost of production. Then you will choose the relatively low priced factors. If capital is cheap, you will use capital. If labor is cheap, you will use labor. Clear? And in socialism, which method you will use depends upon decided by the planning authority. And the third important question, for whom to produce? And a capitalist system, for those who have buying capacity, those who have money in your pocket. What happened to the US when COVID-19 came? Those who had buying capacity could buy COVID test. Those who had buying capacity could buy what? All life supporting machines like ventilators. So production is not for everyone. Production is for those who have money. That's why so many people are dying there, isn't it? Right. So production, for whom to produce? It is for people who have money in their pocket that they are producing. Not thinking of welfare of people. Now, for whom to produce? Decided by the planning authority. And what is the objective? Equity and welfare. Okay. What is needed by the people? If vaccination is needed, you will produce vaccination medicine. Vaccines. Vaccines will be produced in a capitalist country for those who have buying capacity of vaccine. Okay. And so, decided by the central planning authority. And the last question, what provision should be made for economic growth? How much is to be set apart for further investment? Come on. It depends on the profit making in capitalism. If something is going to make great profit for me, come on. Profit motive. The profitability decides how much is to be invested. But in socialism, the central planning authority decides, okay, we need growth of industries. Okay, let's have more industry. We need education to grow. Let's have more public schools. That is for equity and welfare. Okay, please remember, I am teaching you absolute theory. Whether in practice it is like that or something is different. Okay, then what about the distribution income in capitalism? Unequal distribution of income. Okay, because the rich will exploit, because they will pay lower wages because they want to maximize. They can amass wealth, and so the rich will become richer and richer. The poor will be exploited. And so there is always unequal distribution of income under capitalism. Under socialism, there is no opportunity to accumulate. I will have opportunity to accumulate only when I possess property. Okay, I buy property, I buy the next farm, I buy the next factory, I go for mergers, I go for acquisitions, right? I can own more and more and more. That makes me richer and richer and richer. But there is no private property under socialism. And so I have no opportunity to accumulate. I have only the wages that government gives me. So how will I become? Almost everybody have the same wages. That means you cannot accumulate, and income inequality is less. And social security, just you have to understand or write it down in your book. What is social security? Social security is when I am not able to make myself secure. For example, if I can work and earn income, I am secure because I have money. My family is secure because I am able to earn money and support myself and my family or whoever I want to support. But if I am disabled, if I am retarded, mentally retarded, if I am not able to work, if I am not educated, if I can't find work, then it is the duty of the society, the state, to give security to me. And that is social security. That is, when I can't find security on my own, working and earning money, the society gives me security. That is what old age pension is. When you are old, you cannot work and find security. So government gives you old age pension, right? So there is nothing like comprehensive social security under capitalism. You will ask me, in the US there is social security. Plus, please remember, US is not purely theoretical capitalism that we learn. It is only, an extreme form of capitalism is nowhere prevalent. What we are studying is theory. So there is no social security. Everything is left to the market. In socialism, there is comprehensive social security from everyone according to their ability. If I am able to work, you work. If you are not able to work, don't work. But to everyone according to their need. Whatever is my need, food, clothing, shelter, it will be satisfied. And that is social security, right? So social security is there under socialism, but not under capitalism. Capitalism Money is what is. Money and markets are most important. Okay? Money and markets are very important. And what are the merits? Let's now look into, now that you have an idea about capitalism and socialism, you would have, that is in economics, we find both sides of anything. What is the merit? What is the demerit? There are lots of merits for capitalism. American economy has many plus points. There is a lot of freedom. There is investment friendliness. There is, if there is no private property, I'll be very unhappy. I hope you also will be very unhappy, isn't it? Right. And so when there is private property and accumulation, I can give my money to my children. Okay, I will be encouraged to work. If I can make profit and enjoy profit, I will be encouraged to work more. Right. If you study hard and your marks will not be your marks, it's somebody else's marks, will you study? You will not. Right. And so capitalism gives a lot of incentives. Incentive is encouragement. If you are in a capitalist society, basic human nature is selfishness. It is undisputed. People are selfish. Okay. And capitalism goes with the selfish nature of people. That is why in 1991, what happened to Russia? Socialism, it is ideologically good, but it is not practical. Capitalism goes with the selfishness of people. Capitalism goes with the nature of people. And let us see what is the merit of a capitalist society. It is self-regulating, automatically working. You ask your parents, if children study on their own, 50% of the problem in the house is over. Automatically working, isn't it? Each time we have to be coaxed, study this lesson. The parents have to ask question, what a great strain it is. In socialism, it is like that. Everything has to be calculated. Multiples, thousands and thousands and thousands of equations have to be solved. Okay. Hundreds and thousands of calculations, crores of calculations to be made. Demand has to be estimated. In capitalism, there is nothing like that. It is self-regulating. It works automatically. Leave it to the price mechanism. The prices will give the signal. I hope I am clear. Why are you doing chartered accountancy? The price of a chartered accountant, that is the wages that you can get as a chartered accountant, is high when compared to a BCom graduate or an MCom graduate. 5 years they also study, isn't it? And the price of chartered accountant has signal. It has acted as a signal, and there is mobility of your resources, your money, your brain, your time to chartered accountancy. Is there any planning that is done? No, the market has given the signal. Chartered accountants get high wages. They live smart life. They drive very big cars. Yes, this is self-regulating. It works automatically. Resource allocation automatically takes place. Optimum allocation of resources. What is optimum allocation? The best allocation of available resources. For example, when you choose to do foundation, there is optimum allocation of your resource. Your money. The fees for chartered accountancy is nothing. It's very less, isn't it? You get free coaching, right? Your money, your time, your brain, your resources, everything best possible manner to make the maximum possible money within the limited time, to live the smartest possible life till the last day of your life. As long as you can say in sign, you can make money, right? And so, optimum, best allocation of available productive resources. Your father's money, your time, your intelligence, your hard-working capability, everything is very well utilized here. Who said? The market said. The market has signaled it, okay, with high wages of chartered accountants. So automatically, In 1970s, if you pass your chartered accountancy, photograph used to come in the newspaper, someone who passed chartered accountancy. But now it doesn't come because there are a large number of people who are coming for chartered accountancy. It is based on market signal, best use of available resources, the most productive use of available. There is high degree of operative efficiency. Don't you think you are studying much more than what you were doing in the +1 or +2? High degree of efficiency, because only when, the private sector, the operative efficiency is usually much more than the government sector. Why? Because if you want to make profit, you have to be working very hard. 18 hours, 15 hours, 14 hours. Why? Because you have to be efficient, otherwise you cannot make profit. Okay. The cost of production is minimized. Why cost of production is minimized? Because the gap between price and cost is your profit. If you want to increase your profit, you have to minimize your cost. And maximum satisfaction to consumers. Yes. You want an yellow shirt with black stripe? Yes, that is available. Another girl wants a black shirt with a polo collar. Yes, that is available. Another person wants a cake which is or a cake or a brownie or a pastry, or another person wants a laddu. Yes, maximum satisfaction. Everything is available in the market, and they produce it according to your demand, according to your choice. Large variety of good quality products. Why is that people moving to the US don't want to come back? Oh, we get 40 types of bread over there. We also get in India. But, earlier, we get a lot more, better, good quality, variety. And so what happens is, capitalist countries have high standard of living. That is what socialist countries are not happy about. Okay. Capitalist countries, the other side of the globe, they enjoy a lot of standard of living. They have cars, they have aeroplanes, they have all lots of facilities, good houses, everything is there, isn't it? Right. There is incentive for innovation, technological progress, because your production has to be very efficient. Your production has to be at the lowest possible cost. And this is possible. And you have to be always finding new goods, better quality goods, better variety goods. Okay. New and better things. For that you have to keep on researching, improving your technology. Then, capitalism is always associated with freedom and fundamental right. Okay. Freedom is something that you enjoy. Did you see in the US people fighting against lockdown, against coronavirus, because it is affecting their personal freedom? Right. So fundamental rights, freedom, maximum amount of autonomy. Autonomy is being self and able to make your decision and do whatever you want to do without being questioned by someone. All capitalists can do whatever they want to do, produce whatever they want to produce. And if you are smart and enterprising, you make a lot of money. It is good, isn't it? And punishing the imprudent, after some time I'll say the opposite, that is different. Okay, people who are enterprising get a lot of money. People who are lazy will not get money. Natural justice, isn't it? Then, usually, capitalism functions in a democratic framework, not under autocratic framework like we have. You have heard about the North Korea, okay, the Kim Jong's country. You have heard about China. You have heard about all those countries which are having an autocratic rule, right? Usually this is functioning in, okay. And also, lot of an entrepreneurial class will come. When did this Reliance and all come? After liberalization in 1991, isn't it? We never allowed industries to grow. We used to catch their neck and say, don't grow. But after we became capitalistic or moving away from our government controls, we find businesses prospering, industries are coming up, employment is increasing, variety of goods are increasing. Okay, these are all good things about capitalism. Nice place to live in capitalistic country. But now that COVID-19 has come, we have understood the truth and the reality of capitalism. Let us see the truth or the reality of capitalism. You can read inequality. I don't have to teach. Yes, there is inequality in India, isn't it? Inequality in all capitalist countries. There is social injustice. There is exploitation of labor. Okay? Whenever some people have less welfare, the entire economy's welfare will be less, isn't it? And we have two classes of people, the haves and the have-nots. Who are the haves? Those who have money. And who are the have-nots? Those who don't have money. I will tell you what is meant by capitalist relation. During our studies that is in 1970s, we had to study, just like capitalism, non-market economy was also taught as part of university. Now it is not taught. There is nothing like non-market economy in our syllabus now. And we were taught, who are the haves? The bourgeoisie, the capitalists. And who are the have-nots? Exploited people. Capitalism is, people who have money or capital, they invest money and build industries in which the proletariat work, that is the working class work. Capitalists are the haves, working class are the have-nots. Capitalists exploit the working class, and there is class conflict or unrest. What is class conflict? The bourgeoisie or the upper class and the working class, there is always a constant conflict because the working class is being exploited by the capitalists. Ignoring human welfare, the only aim is to make profit. Exploitation of labor, there is no security of employment. We say there is consumer sovereignty, but we are cheated by their trick of advertisement, isn't it? They tell us what to buy and what not to buy through their advertisement. So we are unduly influenced by big corporates. Okay, reward is only for productive people. Those who are, there are hi-fi people, there are ordinary people. Ordinary people also have a right to live in a society, isn't it? So only people who are, privileged will get supported under capitalism. And workers, businesses, everywhere there is uncertainty. There is a lot of friction. Not enough education will be provided. People will not find money to pay for education. There will be illiteracy. There will be problems when health problems come. Okay, like COVID, right? We in India are not facing that much problem as the US and the other capitalist European countries were facing. Right. There will be unemployment because there is no guaranteed work, and there is a market failure is also there. Okay, markets may not be doing efficiently. Then property rights are more important than human rights. Actually, what is more important? Human rights are more important than property rights. And resources, this is the most important problem. Rich people, whatever they want, misallocation of resources. When people are hungry, more cars will be produced. More luxury goods will be produced. So this is a terrible fact in the case of capitalism. When some people are hungry, others living in luxury. Because those who have buying power will decide what is to be produced. Less wage good. What is a wage good? Goods consumed by ordinary people. Food, clothing, shelter, cotton, dress. All that will be produced less. Less merit goods like education will be produced. And there will be trade cycles or business cycles. Capitalism is a breeding ground. That is, business cycle is a feature of capitalism. And there is a lot of waste of productive resources in advertisement, sales promotion. They will form monopoly. What is a monopoly? That is, firms will become bigger, bigger and bigger, and they have absolute control over things. This is something we are going to see in our mobile telephony services. How many players are there? I can remember times when there are at least 11 mobile phone service providers. Now hardly 3 or 4. Isn't it? BSNL having only a very low market share. They grow big. And so monopolies, they can exploit us. Then excessive materialism. Accumulate, right? Become rich, become profit. Unethical consumption. Environmental degradation. When you consume more and more plastic is there. More of every environmental pollution is there. And so we go to socialism. Yeah. What is the foundation of socialism? The principle of Karl Marx. Das Kapital, Communist Manifesto. Right. These are the books. In principle, socialism is this. I hope you understand. Yeah. Support for the poor, the disadvantaged. Right? In principle, socialism is this. But let us see. You will say, this is taken from Acknowledging Wikipedia. Don't think that socialism was not prevalent as an ideology. You go to Wikipedia, you will find at some point of time, all these countries were socialistic. See, European countries, that is different degrees of socialism. This is what Communist China is claiming. Okay. India is seen in orange because our constitution says, you want to be socialistic, right? Then what is the advantage? Come on, no class war. I don't have, please just go through it. Right to work, everything is no exploitation. Okay. Social security, you feel very secure. Okay. Bureaucracy is there. But what is the demerit? Everything is good in principle. But officialdom, bureaucracy, rule of officers. Okay. There will be inefficiency, delay. Think of our government sector. Corruption, red tapeism. Okay. Then consumer needs will not be met. Consumers will be unhappy. There is less freedom. Because whenever freedom is taken away, you feel terrible, isn't it? Basic rights are taken away. When administered prices are there, what happens is proper cost calculation will not take place. Only when market prices are there, there will be proper cost calculation. Because every input is valued by administered prices. You cannot calculate the cost. Then scientific allocation of resources are not there. Inefficiency will be there. State will act as a monopolist. Then consumers are unhappy. Then even if you are efficient, you are not rewarded more. That creates a lot of disincentive. You are efficient, you work hard, but the next person also gets the same. Suppose your friend is not studying anything, he or she also gets the same mark. Will you be happy? No. Now, personal efficiency, no importance is given. Then laborers are not rewarded according to their efficiency. Whether you become a chartered accountant or a sweeper, you get the same salary. Will you study all these 5 years and become a chartered accountant? No, you will not. That takes us to a solution to a problem. That is, we have a third one called mixed economy. Science students, please note, mixed economy is the plus points of the market economy, the plus points of the command economy, minus points are not there. Only the plus points of both. Now look at India. We have a mixed economic system. That is, the market economy and the command economy features coexist together. This is a mixed economy, a funny diagram. That is, capitalism and socialism, they are tied together. Okay. Then it becomes a mixed economy. Now we have a market economy on the one side. We have the best features of market economy. All production of consumer goods are done by market, and allocation of resources are done both by government and market. So let's see what are the features. First is coexistence of private and public sector. We have a vibrant public sector. We have a very vibrant private sector. and we have a combined sector where both government and private enterprise work. I'm sorry. And look at India. You can easily know now that is in some areas it is government. Okay. Petroleum refining is where, both private and running of railways. Come on. It's done only by the government. Aircraft running of, around. That is done by private as well as government. Clear. Atomic research done by government. Okay. Very important things are done by the government. Some things are done only by the government. Okay. Now what is the merit of mixed economy? There is a lot of economic freedom. Yes. You can do what you have choices. You have consumer goods. There is private property. There is price mechanism. There is competition. There is productive efficiency. There is sufficient allocation of resources. And there is consumer sovereignty, isn't it? We can decide which car to buy. We can decide which shirt to buy. Okay. We can decide on everything. What food to eat. We have economic planning. That planning is taken from command economy. We have economic planning. We have an active role of the government for economic development. We have controls from the government. Okay. Then we have appropriate incentives, isn't it? We have innovation. We have progress. Then all disadvantages of cutthroat competition. Advantages of competition is also there. We have economic freedom, right? We are happy. Less wastage of resources, right? Sorry, wastage, but we are going to demerits. Look at Indian economy. Of course, there is wastage of resources. The government sector may not work efficiently. They may waste resources. Okay. Inefficiency in the government sector. Then advertisement, sales, marketing. There is waste of resource. Whenever we want a license, we have to go to the government. There can be undue delay. Public sector may not work perfectly. Then, private sector. This is a big problem. Like capitalism in the oxygen tent. That is, this is a way of promoting capitalism, is a criticism against mixed economy. That is, if government is not very strong and vibrant, what happens is, the private sector will grow so disproportionately and eat up the public sector. Right? This is happening in India, isn't it? Because of disinvestment, because of so many private participation, the private sector is growing so big that, we have a feeling that, okay, government sector may not function. If you leave things to the government sector, it's not going to function properly. If you leave things to the private sector, it will do good. For example, BSNL is not doing good. 70,000 of our employees had to be sent out. But Jio is doing good. Why? Because we give them such a possibility of growth. What happens is, the government sector will slowly recede and then capitalism will overpower, and that is why capitalism in the oxygen tent. And with that, the lessons are over. And thank you. If you have any doubt, my email ID is given. My name, all small letters, alismanijacob@gmail.com. Please feel free. I have sent mails to so many students asking doubts. Okay. If I could not explain it thoroughly in class due to want of time, I'll be only happy to answer your questions. Right. So you can send your doubts in mail to me and I will be promptly replying. And thank you. And say, I love economics. Because I think you by this time you have started loving economics. And all best wishes for your examination. And my argument is, yes, you can. Everyone can. All those who are hardworking can pass foundation. And I tell my students, I've been teaching chartered accountancy for the past 19 years. I've taught more than 58 batches of foundation students. All those who passed foundation, most of them became chartered accountants. Many of our students are rank holders, okay? And only thing that I find in them is those who passed, they have been consistent in their studies. They have been very consistent in their studies. They have been hardworking, right? They did not leave portions and study. They studied every single lesson that they are supposed to. They practiced. They read through all the lessons. They asked doubts. They understood each and every word in the study material. Okay? It is not expensive coaching that is important. It is the way you put in your effort that's important. Every single student who is studying in this class, is sitting in this class, I assure you, you can pass. I come from a family with lots of chartered accountants. They are all average people, nothing extraordinary about them, but still they passed us because they have been working hard. Brilliant people need not pass if you are not working hard. So all good wishes and become chartered accountants.
3:59 p.m.
And it is 3:59. I will check the questions, doubts. And I enjoy teaching because this has been a very, very wonderful experience teaching students online without different parts of India and abroad without okay. Doubts are, any doubt I have not cleared, I will be sending mails. You don't have to worry at all because your email ID is there. I can send. Okay. Because up to 4:20 I can go. Right. I can't read your names for want of space, right? Kriti Kumari is asking, I didn't understand lagging and coincidental indicator. Lagging is, when a change is taking place. For example, if you watch the economy, for example, the example given in your book is good. Lots of applications come for electrical connection. Okay? Electricity connection. What does it mean? Lots of construction work has taken place. Clear? Lots of construction work has taken place. That's a lagging indicator. Okay. And coincidental indicator is when construction takes place, there will be lots of demand for construction material. There will be lots of employment for people who are in the construction industry, engineers. You will find there is more demand for engineers, there's more demand for cement. Okay, so this is happening simultaneously. So coincidental is happening at the same time and lagging is happening after some time. Okay, so that is a lagging indicator. Okay, coincidental. And what is a leading? Before something happens, before a change happens, there are some indicators that will tell you, for example, I'll tell you, if you expect a flood, okay, if you expect a flood in the month of Kerala rainy season, if you expect a flood, there are lots of arrangements where that people do, like raising their land, raising their carport, because they expect a flood. These are all leading indicators, okay? Coincidental indicators are what you will do when the flood is taking place. There will be more demand for so many things when the flood is taking place. And what is the lagging indicator? There is loss of food crop and so output will be less. These are all indicators of ups and downs. Using these indicators, you can decide what is going to be the demand for your product. Okay. How to differentiate small scale, large scale, on which basis? Actually, I told you, are you talking about industry? Then there are specific. You go to the Ministry of Commerce website, there are specific instructions in that as to what is small scale, what is medium scale, what is large scale. Okay, that is how. Please teach BCK. Okay, that is all left to the institute. Can you please tell me how to study paper? Oh, it's the same question. It is the same questions. Okay. Right, but some additional questions. Yes, good. What is the weightage of this chapter? I have already answered. Don't look at weightage at all. It is for +2. Anything can be asked from anywhere. Okay. You cannot tell the examiner, don't ask this. No. As CA students, anything can be asked. India is a mixed economy. Yes, good question. Yes, India has a mixed economic pattern, more leaning to capitalism. But with greater leaning we have towards, greater we are tendency to be capitalistic. What is the meaning of ISM? Yes, capitalism. That is, it is a system where capitalism is a system where private property, profit motive, market and everything is there. Ism stands for communism. Ism stands for a particular system. Okay, particular set. Meaning of consumer sovereignty. Very good question. Consumer sovereignty is, please remember, earlier version it was not okay. This version, I have edited this book, so I know. Consumer sovereignty is, the consumer is the sovereign. He decides, the consumer, he or she decides what is to be produced. If I say that I will wear only silk shirts, and if everybody says that I will wear only silk shirts, then only silk shirts will be produced. Right? Resources will move into the production of, silkworms, silk industry. So who is the one who is deciding the resource allocation? It is a consumer who is deciding the resource allocation. How the resources of the society, the labor, the land, the capital, the money, industries, how resources should be allocated is ultimately decided by the consumer. Now, who is a sovereign? Sovereign is a big king, isn't it? He decides ultimately everything regarding his country. Like that, the consumer is a sovereign. When he is spending money, he is voting, VOTING, voting for that commodity. When consumers spend for that commodity, producers want to make profit. Producers will produce that commodity, and so, because their aim is to make profit. So ultimately, who's deciding resource allocation? It's not the government. It is a consumer who decides resource allocation. That's why he is said to be a, man, isn't China purely socialist economy? Actually, China is a paradox. In 1970s, we only knew that Peking is the capital of China. There was an iron curtain. We never knew anything about China. Whatever happened in China, it was a big secret. But later, they understood, with large number of people and, all problems. They understood capitalism works better than socialism. So they are remaining in a socialist framework, but their mode of production, everything is capitalistic. Okay. But, their labor rules, everything is still, that communistic thing. Their rulers are so powerful, isn't it? So everything is in socialism. That is why recently, about World Trade Organization. Because tariffs are decided whether you are a socialist country or a market economy. All that you will study in intermediate. China wanted to say we are a market economy, but WTO did not agree. Okay. Because you don't have a democratic setup and your setup is still socialistic. You are not a market economy, and so WTO treats China as a very recently, that is only in July 19th, I think that came in newspaper. China lost the market economy status. China lost in that fight for market economy status this last week. Okay. So theoretically theoretically you can say China has capitalist mode of production. You can see all Western production facilities in China. Cars in America, American cars being produced in China, right? Everything is capitalist mode of production. But China's rule is still communistic. They don't have that market economy, that freedom of enterprise. Nothing is there. And so it is predominantly a socialist economy, but with production patterns more or less capitalistic. Yes, India follow a mixed economy. Does India follow mixed economic pattern? Yes. Ma'am, do we have negative marks? Of course. I told you the first day, no? One wrong answer, incorrect answer, 0.25. 4 incorrect answers, you lose 1 full mark. Okay? Please explain statistical methods. Statistical methods are using, statistical methods that you will be studying in statistics. That is, you use the data. Data is numbers. You have sales numbers with you, right? You put those numbers, put it in an equation, put it on a graph, and project it for the future. In regression, that is what you do. I can send a mail to you, please, because I cannot explain it within this limited time. I'll be sending a mail. Glad to attend your session. Thank you. I am also glad, but unfortunately I have not met you, right? Except that I have your email ID with you. I'll be happy when you pass your examination. All of you pass your examination. This paper is totally objective, nothing written. Okay, economics is totally objective, so practice your objective type question. The content is really huge. No, the content is not at all huge, right? Content is not at all huge. Just imagine your +2 textbook, it's only that much. So please sit and study properly. Then the content will not fail you, right? Yeah, capitalist economies. How do capitalist economies solve their central problem? By leaving everything to the market. The market decides, the consumers decide, demand decides what to produce. How to produce is decided by the market, by producers, that method of production which will minimize cost of production, right? And for whom to produce? Those who have money in their pocket. And how much is to be set apart? It depends upon your efficiency of capital, rate of interest, and so on. Yeah, what does the word bequeath and unbridled? Okay, bequeath means I can give my daughter whatever I have made in my life. All the private property that I have made, I can give it to my daughter or son. Okay, you can inherit property, I can bequeath. And unbridled is, there is no restriction, limitation, right? Yeah, there is no restriction or limitation. Demand forecasting is, please explain demand forecasting. Demand forecasting is trying to predict what will be the demand for your product in future. Okay, you are producing milk powder and selling. Clear, you are producing milk powder and selling. There are so many ways in which you can find out the demand for milk powder. You can ask people, you can ask salespeople, you can use the previous demand figures and apply statistical methods. You can use Delphi method, you can use expert opinion at what will be the demand for milk powder. Will people prefer fresh milk, or will people prefer milk powder? Or are new food recipes coming with milk powder? Okay. All these things can be checked. And if you feel that people are going to use, if you get a hint, if you forecast the demand for milk powder to be 3 times in the coming decade, then of course you should have a better factory wherein you increase your production of milk powder. If you feel that there is an advertisement against milk powder, people are not going to consume milk powder, there is no point in your investing more money in production of milk powder. So demand forecasting or predicting future demand, it is a huge chapter. We have concisely put it in 5 or 6 paragraphs. That's why you might find it. But it is simple. That is, just understand it is predicting the future demand for chartered accountants. Future demand. How do you predict the future demand for chartered accountants? you see the rate of growth of industries. Clear? The rate of growth of industries, the rate of requirement of chartered accountants can be predicted. It is a leading indicator. I hope it is clear. The growth of industry is a leading indicator of demand for chartered accountants. Okay. Then, ma'am, the PPT that you are sharing uploaded is somewhat different. I do not know. I do not know because all that is you have to ask the ICAI. What is the advantage of capitalist cost? So many advantages, Private property is there. You will work hard. You will be efficient. Please go through the PowerPoints. It is clearly given there. In your book also, it's clearly given. There is a lot of incentive to work. There is a lot of encouragement to accumulate. My quality of life will be better. There will be a lot of competition. If you are a winner, you will be a winner. You make a lot of money. You live a happy life. Okay? You get good food, good clothing, good everything, because everything good will be produced because as a consumer, you are sovereign. You have to be satisfied. Okay? How to prepare for paper? Simply study each and every sentence, understand it thoroughly and study. Democratic framework is what we have in India. Okay? Elected representative. Actually, you are ruling your country. We are ruling our country. We are sending representatives, isn't it? That is a democratic framework. Look at North Korea. Kim Jong is ruling there. Look at Gulf countries. There are kings, isn't it? No democratic framework. So we are sending our representatives and we are sending our party representative and we decide which party will rule, isn't it? Okay, you teach very nice, man. I can understand. Thank you so much for appreciating. Yeah. During such a time of epidemic, why the stock is not falling? What is stock? I didn't understand this question. Probably I'll send you a mail. During the time of why the stock is not falling? Are you talking about stock market? I need to clarify this. Okay. What is the meaning of laissez-faire? Laissez-faire, yes, good. As young people, you will be feeling, I know what is best for me. Don't come and guide me. This is a sign of growth, laissez-faire, isn't it? Let alone. Leave me alone. That is the laissez-faire. Leave everything to the market. Don't interfere. Okay? We don't like parents interfering, isn't it? That is laissez-faire. Leave me alone. I know what is best. Leave the market alone. The market will solve all problems in the best possible manner. Tell me if there is negative marking. I have already told you. India is a mixed economy. What is the meaning of allocation? Allocation is, I've given you a picture, isn't it? That is putting the total resources in different places. I'll tell you. Your father gives you 100 rupees. You decide you are eating ice cream for 50 rupees. You decide you are traveling for 10 rupees. You decide you are giving your friend a treat for 20 rupees. That is allocation of resources. Okay? Allocating your resources. Now usually when you talk economics, allocating scarce resources for different uses. Right? Ism stands for a system. That's all. Communism. Sovereignty meaning you are king. Consumer is the final king. Okay, there is nobody above you. The consumer decides, just like a king decides. Is India a capitalism? We say we are socialistic. We say we are mixed economy. But we have more features of capitalism after liberalization. 1991. Ma'am, if the consumers have various demand, then what will happen in a socialist economy? You will have to sit quiet and silent. All your wants will not be taken care of under a socialistic setup. It is welfare of most of the people that is important. Cuba is not flourishing. You can even look at European countries which were communistic like Bulgaria. They are not developed even now. Right? Whether communism is responsible for that, we do not know. Lot of research is going on about that. Actually, capitalist system, even though unfair, they have flourished. It is unfair. Now we see in the US, It is unfair to all. It is unfair to people. But, they have more of food, more of everything, right? So we can't say socialist Cuba is not flourishing because there was communism there. You need a lot of research for that. Okay. Ma'am, if socialism equal wages is given, then why will people be motivated to work? No, that is one disadvantage. A chartered accountant and a sweeper given more or less equal salary, you are cracking your brain. The sweeper is only doing manual work. More or less equal salary means you will not become a chartered accountant. You don't like, because all the worries and difficulties you undergo, you will not be rewarded for that. Provident fund is a social security. Good question. Yes. Provident fund is a social security. Pension is a social security. Different. In Kerala, we have hundreds of social security measures by the government. Unemployment benefit is there. You study, you have a degree and you can't find employment, you get unemployment benefit. Okay. That is a social security. What kind of countries prefer socialism or capitalism? Actually, socialism is a principle. After the Russian Revolution, you need to learn a little bit of history, which we don't really teach. After the Russian Revolution, such a lot of inequality, right? Who will be happy with inequality? Then, socialism was a practical alternative to capitalism. But later, when it come to 1990s, they found, man is basically selfish. And this Loka Samasto Sukhino Pavantu is only theory. And so slowly, even socialistic countries, they found socialism doesn't work. And so they are slowly, that's what China is doing. They are slowly moving to capitalism. PPT you are sharing already. One of the main reason for India is income inequality. Yes, that I will send you a mail, right? Income inequality. Ma'am, with the lecture go beyond 4 p.m. I'm sorry. It has gone beyond 4 p.m. Red tapeism is, red tapeism is, haven't you seen the government offices? Urgent files are kept in a red tape. Okay? The papers will sit in the file for long, and that is undue delay is red tapeism. The next question is also on red tapeism. Yes, red tapeism means undue delay in offices. All papers sitting under the red tape, tied with the red tape is very important file. So red tapeism is files sitting in the files. Paper sitting in the files for a long time, or it only means undue delay. That is a lot of delay taking place. Thank you so much, and I hope I have taught you okay. And if you have any doubt, you can send me a mail. I'll be happy to clear it. Thank you so much. I am now stopping my presentation, and all good wishes and best of luck. See you as chartered accountants. Okay, at this step, see you as passing foundation, and then later see you as chartered accountant after 5 years. Thank you so much for being patient listeners.